We're going to start with a little sip. Today we did an iced strawberry matcha latte from Castle Coffee. Shout out to Castle Coffee here in Ferns. Also, no paper straw. My kind of style. I think I'm ready. I'm here. You're there. Let's get to it. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Born Reddy. I'm your host, Anthony Reddy. Episode 10. Holy moly. Holy moly cannoli. We made it to 10. I didn't think we'd get here this fast. I said that last episode, but it is very true, especially with the last couple of weeks. I had to put a pause in the podcast. I got sick, and it really brought me down to a level that I was just so fatigued and so tired and run down. I did not expect to get sick. Who does? But I swear, it just hit me out of nowhere, and we're going to talk about it. Today's episode, we're going to cover kind of a recap of the last couple weeks, what's been going on, some of the events I've been doing, and then also I got a new microphone stand, so I don't have to touch the microphone. I will tell you why. There's a reason for it. And then at the very end, I'm going to share some of the best books that I've read. The reason why is because I've been getting asked, what other books should I read? And what is your next book going to be? And what is your favorite type of books to read? So I'm going to give you a list of books that I like, that I loved, and then I like to read, some genres. And then we'll conclude there, So I hope everyone's having a fantastic October. I'm not. Even though this is my favorite month of all time, this is the best month of the year. And there's no way to argue it. Everyone's playing for second when it comes to October. You could say the Burr months are the best season. And if you're in the Burr months, I'll give it to you. I'm going to say, yes, you were born in the right place. Because, October is my birth month. There's just so many good reasons to love October. I'm not going to go deep into it. But the season is my favorite. Fall always and forever. The leaves are starting to change. The weather's getting a little cooler. As you can see, I'm wearing a little shacket today. Shirt jacket, right? I think that's what it is. It's nice and comfortable. The weather's changing. Today's raining in Ireland, which we haven't been getting a lot of rain. And it's nice. It's a nice change in pace. The pumpkins, the pumpkin pie, the pumpkin spice latte, the pumpkin seasonal candles. This month, everyone, all the sports play in 1 month, right? You got football, baseball, basketball, soccer, hockey, all starting or all playing at once, which is great. The haunted houses, Halloween, my birthday. There's just so much to love. I love October, but it's been a rough October, mainly because I've been sick most of the time. And let me back up. So let's start from the last episode. Last episode, we did the tiny topics, thoughts, and tings. And I had a lot of fun doing those type of episodes because not every episode has to be something like, oh, let me teach you something. Or, hey, this is my ready or not moment or story. It could just be me talking to you, which I want this to be that way. I want it to be very casual. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts and I've been reaching further. I've been listening to different genres. And I've learned that a lot of what the space is the now. What comes to rise, what kind of flow. And it doesn't always have to be monumental. It doesn't always have to be this thing, this topic. It could be fun. And that's what it should be. And that's how I want it to be. I want it to be fun. So today it's just going to be about flowing. And I'll do a recap from the start. So let's start with the last time I filmed was in September. It was right before I went to the NFL experience and the first regular season NFL game played in Ireland. It was amazing. The way the NFL just dressed up Dublin, and there's all these different experiences. You can go see the championship rings at City Hall. You could see the trophy, the Vince Lombardi trophy. They had every pub decorated to the nines. Like they had balloons, they had ribbons, they had posters and flags. They had everything that you can think of. And it was so nice because you could feel the buzz in Dublin. There's a bit of crack that was like leveled up. And you also got to go to Dublin Castle where they had this NFL experience and you can kick a field goal, which was really cool. And yours truly kicked 3 field goals and I got 1 on camera. So that was nice. It was a lot of fun. And then going to the game was an experience that you must do. Now, if you're a big NFL or sports fan, going to another country, though Ireland is very similar in ways of like we speak English and it's very influenced in American pop culture. Yeah, so it wasn't so different, but I would highly recommend checking a game out outside of the States. It was just so much fun. There was 30% Americans who flew over. There was 30% Europeans and other countries around, and then 30% Irish. Pretty much straightforward. Excuse me, I had a burp, and that smelled like matcha. Um, it was just exciting to see. I really loved. I really loved the ambiance. First of all, it was the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Minnesota Vikings, and it was a Pittsburgh Steelers home game, and they know how to party. They know how to actually watch an NFL game. Everyone stands, no one sits down. The terrible towels, these yellow terrible towels are just, everywhere you go, literally getting hit by it. Was really fun. Um, and it was just really cool to be a part of that experience. From someone who's been coming over to Ireland since my first birthday in the 80s, 90s, 2000s, the 10s, and now, gosh, 5 decades of just visiting Ireland, home away from home. It's really nice to finally take football, something that I grew up playing and watching, and then finally see it here. And you guys, Ireland and UK, I would say all around, are huge fans of the game, which is really nice to see that coming to life. And it was a good game. Like overall, like Pittsburgh Steelers won that game. Minnesota gave a fight in the end, but came up short. The only thing, actually, you know what I want to say first? The lady who sang the national anthem, the lady who sang the national anthem for Ireland, absolutely the best national anthem I've ever heard anyone sing. She crushed. Like it was. Please find that clip. If I have a chance, I'll show it. She did it with so much like force and fierce, and I got chills. It was incredible. And then the fireworks go off, and then you have the colors of the Ireland flag, and everything was just so powerful. Shout out to her. She nailed it. She's Irish, by the way. I looked her up. Gosh, I can't remember her name, and I don't want to. Maybe it's Ryna, Ryna. I might be saying that wrong. Might be completely off. I have to fact check it. But she probably was the best thing about the game. Isn't that incredible to have someone sing like that? Miles Smith, the halftime show. The food was actually better than I thought it was going to be. Now, if you've been to a game here in Ireland or in the UK, their food selection is not what it is like in America with all these different options. I had to catch my phone. Wow, it almost fell. I need it for notes. Anyways, I just had anyways, the food. Sorry. The food. They had burgers, chicken nuggets or French fries. They had a sausage roll. They had a sausage pizza roll, which was really interesting. All your, drinks and wines and soda pops. By the way, you could buy a 6-pack. They would sell you a 6-pack of beer to your seat. And it was the first game I think they allowed, Crow Park allowed drinking at your seat because usually in Europe, I believe at soccer games, you can only drink before the game or at the concourse. So everyone goes at halftime to drink more and then come back to your seat because you can't bring alcohol to your seat. But it was the first time they allowed it for good reason. Obviously, for Americans want to drink at their seats, kind of a tradition. So it was really cool to see. That was the only thing I think that could have been better was the food selection. I did have a burger with just meat and cheese. I didn't even eat the bun. And then I went back for chicken tenders and French fries or chips, depending what kind of side of the pond you on. And it was really good. It hit. But I just wish they would have had a little more variety, which would have been really nice. They had really cool merchandise, some unique things that I actually bought a mini football helmet that has an Irish or the Dublin Games crest logo on it, which is really cool. Brought it back for my dad. But it was just really nice to see overall. And I highly recommend if you get a chance to go overseas to watch a game, please do. So right after that, I got sick really bad. And it's really weird because I thought I was going to get the flu. I thought I was, because I started to get aches and pains and then my throat started to itch. And so I prepared myself the night before, like, all right, tomorrow's going to suck. But it never hit. I never hit in the way that I got like the full on flu. I just had this really weird cold, but what really affected me was my energy level. It would trick me. It would trick me in being like, "You're feeling better today. You can go to the gym." So I'd be like, "Sick." So I have a cup of coffee, go to the gym, and get there and just be like depleted. There's no energy. I remember laying there the first day after 2 days taking a rest and thinking like, "Why did I even show up?" My body wasn't ready. So then I waited another 2 days, and then I was like, "All right, I feel a little better." It's been about 4, 5, 6 days. Went to the gym and I did maybe some chest exercises, and I was just so grumpy. And then I started to get more achy, and I was like, dude, this is so weird. It can't make up its mind. And it's kind of the reason why I haven't recorded an episode, because my voice was all messed up and I didn't want to show up that way. I wanted to actually have a working speaking voice. And here's the thing, it's so hard to be sick. I know for other people, some people enjoy it. And the reason why they enjoy it is because they get to let themselves off the hook. And for me, I can't. I get frustrated. I'm really impatient. I really don't know how to be sick. I really don't know how to just lay there. It's funny because I know how to lay there and take a rest day really well, but I can't do sick. First of all, I'm a big baby. I just, everything is like irritable. Life is already hard. So I'm already irritable in everything I do. And then you're just laying there and it feels like a wasted day. I'm really trying to change that mindset of a wasted day, but it feels like it because you can't do anything. One of the things I did do though was I've been starting to write more. I've been writing short stories, like short scripts, and I wrote a short script about my dad and I. Um, and it was a really funny thing because I've been watching a lot of podcasts, and then I've also been watching a lot of actors talk about their journey into either acting, directing, writing, producing, and then how they got started. And some of my favorites, like Jason Segel, was one, and he talks about like if you had only $5 to make a movie, write a script that's like 15 minutes, and if you only have $5, make it worthwhile. So that means like use what you know or use what you have, so it doesn't cost you anything. So I was thinking about it. So I was like, all right. So I was really excited about this idea of writing a $5 script. And I thought, okay, maybe mine was $10 because I had to buy 2 beers. Um, but it took place at the pub up here at Fern's Castle. And I thought it'd be really funny to have my dad and I enjoy a pint, and then, celebrating, Friday, whatever. And then him delivering some surprising news. And then the surprising news would be like, that you're adopted, right? And then I'd be like, what? And then I was like, I had this dialogue and I wrote it multiple times, but I really liked the dynamic because the running joke is like my siblings always tease me, be like, you're adopted. You talk different, you act different, you're like the different one in the family. And uh, during the script, my dad and I go back and forth, and it's really funny. But I wake up and it's all a dream. And then I, tell my dad about the dream I had the next morning, and ends up with like a cliffhanger of like, who knows? Maybe you are. It was really fun. I don't get to set enough time for myself to be creative and write stuff, but I've been trying to do that more. And so since then, I've been writing little scripts. Now, there is one that I've been working on for a while that I want to do and won't be able to share just yet, but it's preparing me to get there. And so it sparked new inspiration. So as I'm being sick through this process, I'm still trying to be creative, and I'm really trying to own it all. I'm really trying to be all in on being creative. Something that I always want to do and always consider myself being my strength is being gosh, this phone is gonna fall, and if you hear it fall, it's my fault because it's on my knee. um yeah, it's just something that I really want to lean into more and own it, and be all in on it. So um what else do I got? Oh gosh, okay, I'm gonna tell you a quick story, and the way I describe it is I told a buddy of mine, my buddy Mark. um so I After about a week and a half of being sick, I went back to the gym. The first day, I didn't really like do the full workout. I didn't do the full sets, but I just wanted to see where I was at. Surprisingly, I did pretty well. The next day, I woke up early, feeling good, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm just gonna have a cup of coffee. I'm gonna get my creative juices going. I'm gonna start writing. And I woke up about 9:30. And by 11 a.m., I'm sitting on the couch writing, kind of watching some YouTube. There's like a show going on talking about writing scripts. Anyways, I'm feeling exhausted. I'm so tired. And I'm thinking like I just slept for like 10 hours. I had a really good night's rest and I had a cup of coffee. And usually by now I'm ready to like use that energy. It was the complete opposite. I was like falling asleep at 11 a.m. and I couldn't understand why. It was one of those days where it brought me back to senior year. Senior year was a tough year for me because I started school at 7:30 in the morning, and sometimes we would have to get there early, obviously for practice, because I played basketball, or sometimes I had to go early to pick up my friend to give a ride or get a ride from someone. But I started early, so I woke up at 6:30 every morning to get there by 7:30, be on time, and then I would have practice until like 7:30 at night because sometimes we wouldn't be able to have the first um, time slot for basketball practice. We would have to wait and share it. Anyways, so I had long days, was what I'm trying to tell you. But 64 of those days, I didn't make it to first period. And the reason why is because I was so exhausted. I would wake up and get ready and just be like, fuck going to school today. I'm just going to sleep in. And those type of sleeps, they're like forbidden. They're like the best sleeps of your life. And so let me bring you back to present time. I'm having that moment where I'm like, oh my God, I should be going to the gym. I should use this energy. And I haven't felt like this in a long time. And it brought me back to like, just fuck it. Who gives a shit? Just go back to sleep. And so I'm like contemplating back and forth, like, should I go back to sleep? And it's a weird thing. I went upstairs to put my gym clothes on and I immediately fell in the bed and I fell asleep for 2 hours. You guys, it was the best feeling in the whole world. There's nothing like you need to be somewhere or to do something and saying, fuck it, and just slumbering so hard, like a hard slumber. And you guys, I slept for 2.5 hours. And when I woke up at 1:30, I was like, holy fuck, I need to go to the gym. Then I crushed at the gym, whatever. But it was so funny. I allowed myself to do that because it's not often that I get to do that anymore. Usually I have responsibilities to do things, but I'm in a luxury. I have a luxury of being able to set my own schedule and time and do what I want. And it was one of those days where I leaned in and oh my God, it felt like ecstasy. Like that. And it's funny because when you go to bed and you get a good sleep, there's nothing like a sleep where, oh my God, like after you eat lunch and you just want to take a little nappy poo and there's nothing like it. It's like, oh, shoot me in the arm, dude, with ecstasy. It's so good. There's nothing better than that. And then then after you feel a little guilty because you're like, oh my God, I missed first period, or I gotta go to the gym. I slept for 2.5 hours. You feel kind of guilty about it, but there's nothing like it. It's a forbidden sleep. Anyways, I wanted to share that because it made me so happy. As I get older, taking naps, like they hit so good. If you are a big nappy poo guy or a girl, kudos to you for making time for yourself to do that because there's nothing like it. It's like it's ecstasy. It's so much fun. Okay, yesterday at the gym, at third day. So here's what October has been for me. It's been this twist, turn, curveball, wild pitches kind of month because what I thought it was going to be, it hasn't been. It's been like ruining my routines. It's been like shaking my life up in all the good and bad ways. And yesterday at the gym, as I was working out, I was crushing it. And I was like almost at my last exercise of the day. And I grabbed a very heavy plate, 25 kilograms. I don't know what that is in pounds. Let's just say it's like 55 pounds, give or take, from the bottom shelf. And then as I'm bending over, my back gives out. Now, if you know what it feels like to have your back give out, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It's the worst pain and it's the worst injury you can have. And for people who don't know what it's like, first of all, kiddos, take care of your health. Okay. I hurt my back pretty, like in my early 30s. And a lot of it had to do with not working out or not being fit. And mainly it comes down to your core, hip flexors, abductors, just having a strong core for your lumbar, right? For your back. And the first time I heard it, it wasn't a pop or it wasn't anything I was doing. It was just like throbbing one night. And then the next day I couldn't move and I couldn't move for like 2 weeks. It was crazy. Since then, I've I've had this injury happen to me about 3 or 4 times. They all have one thing in common. It's it's me bending down but forward, like I'm going forward, um, and lifting something. The first time I did it was playing basketball. I was driving against someone very tall, and I was trying to get the first step. And then as I bent forward, back gives out. And then yesterday, and then last year, a year and a half ago, same thing pretty much. I had some heavy dumbbell weights, and I tripped over. Tiny, like a tiny little thing was sticking out, and I tripped over, and I was holding on to the weights, and I should have just let go. And I took a step forward, and my back it's like a pop or it's like a tendon or like a nerve being strung like a strum on a guitar chord, you know. Uh, and it literally locks up. So that's what it means to have your back give out. You freeze. Your body just goes like frozen. It tries to protect everything. And I immediately just dropped to the ground, one knee, and I'm like, I'm so frustrated. I'm so mad just because I'm like, dude, can I not catch a break? How come I just can't catch a break here? You know, it's a cruel joke to play on someone who's trying to be healthy and strong and keep a good routine, and then get hurt while you're being healthy, right? By lifting. What kind of sick joke is that? Of course, life gives you just these wild pitches and curveballs. And I think what it means is that, look, I don't need to have a routine. I know where I'm at. I still can be active and healthy. And maybe I also need to balance out the lifestyle because I've been going really hard in the fitness and wellness lately. And I've been trying to make more time to be creative. And so maybe that's what it's trying to show me. So if you noticed, I haven't really moved a lot, which is one of the reasons why I got this mic stand, because it's been hurting me so bad. You can't. The worst posture for when your back gives out, and it's right on the spine. Mine's on the left side. Oh, I have another funny story. On the left side, and it feels like it's right above your glute, but under like right on the cusp of your waist. And you can't sit down. It like literally hurts. Thankfully, these nice, comfortable chairs um, have keeping me pretty straight and comfortable in the posture. But okay, so that happened. So I had to come home, and then as I come home, guess who hurts his back at the same place, but the other side? My dad. Now my dad, 83 years old, and he is very sprightly. He's very young for his age. Okay, but he was bending down and did the same thing. Went forward to pick up something heavy, and his back gave out. And I just think it's so funny that him and I did the same thing within an hour of each other. And I told him, I was like, hey, I pulled my back, so I'm gonna come home early. And he's like, okay. And then I got home and I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, I pulled my back at doing this. And I was like, look at us ready boys, dude. Think we're so strong and fit. And here we are just hurting ourselves, you know? But I thought it was really weird and really interesting that we both did it. I can't understand it. So, um, what else has been going on? I had some really great conversations with some family and friends. One of them, which Devin and Stevie, I've talked about them. Devin and Stevie are good pals of mine from the Bay Area, Salinas. I told you about their movie, Peninsula Nights, and Devin's the director, Stevie's an actor. And it's been really nice to reconnect because Devin has started his own podcast called Unscripted. Talks about his experience being a director, writing, acting, his favorite films, movies, and gosh, his knowledge is like expert level. Like he knows everything. It's so funny because I'm not a big like I'll watch that movie because of that director. Like I've obviously know the big ones like Steven Spielberg, Ron Howard. Uh, I'm blanking on a few, but um, I almost said Cameron Diaz, and I wanted to say James Cameron. It's so funny. But it's so nice to connect because the start of his journey of his podcast and the start of my journey in this podcast, we've been able to connect in ways that, like we're kind of interested in each other's journey and rooting each other on, which I really love. And then having these creative talks have been really helpful. And my favorite part about it is that we're not even talking about the podcast. We're kind of just talking about life, but the way we're talking about it is like there's some excitement there, which I really love. And that shows that when you do something for yourself that you enjoy doing, it gives you joy. Like it just amplifies your livelihood. Your what am I trying to say? Um, it enhances your life. Like I'm really in a good place right now. I really feel like between being here in Ireland and then doing the podcast, being more creative, being active, being healthy, taking time to rest, just all the things has really helped me um, to become a better version of myself, but also just feel like, what am I trying to say? I always blank on these. All these words are scrambling to be first. Like I've told you this. I'm just really excited. Life has been really exciting, even with twists and turns and curveballs and wild pitches. It's been so much fun. It's been so much fun, and even with those things, it hasn't stopped me from what I'm doing. So yeah, talking to Devin, this has been a lot of fun, and he's starting another podcast called Watch Party. I might even know, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that. Oh well, it's out. Sorry, Devin, Stevie, Christine. But yeah, you guys are starting a new one called Watch Party, where you get to watch movies, critique, and review them, which I think is a fantastic idea. Um, I think there's a lot of opportunity in that genre because who doesn't love films, movies, etc. And I told him I want to be a part of it somehow. But him and I have been talking a lot about maybe there's something that we can do together. I'm not sure if it's in the podcast space or in a creative space, but whatever it is, it's just been like making me more excited. And so when I'm going back to the Bay Area in the new year, I'm really excited to connect with them. Now, um, what else has been going on? Oh yeah, my you know what, my niece. I wanted to give a shout out to my niece, Asleen Reddy. By the way, she is so brilliant. She definitely took after her dad, my brother Peter, and he definitely took after my mom, Mama Reddy. And them three together, they all mirror each other in some way, which is very interesting. I've always see them like alike. Not only they look alike, but they have this they're built with this intelligence. Okay, they have this thing about them that makes them so brilliant. Um, and the type of person they are, they could pretty much do anything and be fucking really good at it without any like expertise or knowledge. They can just look at something and figure it out, or they can be creative. Like my mom was a great writer. She was a great poet. Actually, she wrote a lot of poems. Very well educated, even though she didn't advance herself in schooling and education. In Ireland, I think you stop around 13 and 14, so she didn't pursue anything higher than that. But she is just a brilliant person, and so is my brother, and my niece Asleen. Not to say that my other siblings and my nieces and nephews and family are not, but them three are just special. And the way I see them, it's really nice. Anyways, uh, I got to connect with her recently, and she's just been a huge supporter. And I just wanted to say thank you because everything I put out, she constantly comments, likes, shares it, and you couldn't ask for a better person to root for you, especially someone in your family. And it's been really nice. Not to say that my sister, my brothers, and my family have not been supportive and rooting me on. It's just that I wanted to give her a specific shout out because she's also a person who I feel like could be in a space and just absolutely crush it in the way where I couldn't even be as good as her, you know. And even though I show up and do this and do my best, some people that you've never heard of are so talented, so funny. Off topic, but on topic. Uh, there was a question asked by, oh yeah, Bill Murray was on Jimmy Kimmel recently, I think yesterday, and Jimmy Kimmel asked Bill Murray, well, "Who is the funniest person you ever met?" And Bill Murray said, "You wouldn't know him." And probably the people that you don't know are probably the most talented and most funniest, and it's the absolute truth. I'm gonna give a shout out to this friend of mine. His name is Nick Nelson, and I feel like Nick Nelson is one of the funniest people I've ever met. Also, the most creative person I know. He was our dance teacher back in the day when I used to dance. If you just learned about me, welcome. um, yeah, there's just people out there that are just so incredibly gifted, and that's what my niece is. She's incredibly gifted, and I really do hope that she takes a step or leans in, a lean in. That was for her because her name's Asleen. A lean in for her to do something because she is gifted and she is talented, and all she really needs to do is just do it and put it out there. So I'm happy that I got to connect with her. My brother also has reached out. My sister, my other brother, everyone has just been so nice rooting me on this project. A few friends of mine have also reached out and they're like, "Where do you see this going?" And I know I talked about this. The truth is, I don't know where it's going. I don't know what this is going to be like. I do have a vision of what this space looks like for me, But as far as where it's going to grow into or how, I don't know. All I know is I need to show up and just do my best and put this out there for you to hear. And also do this for me because selfishly, this gives me an outlet to be me. And I also want to be entertaining and fun. I also want to learn. So eventually, when I bring on guests, I want to learn. I want to learn and I want to hear their story. I think everyone has a story we can all relate to. Doesn't matter what profession or what person you are. And I want to find out, and I'm really curious. And that's what I hope will be like. I hope this will grow into that, which we're very close, by the way. I know I keep saying that, but I just bought the interface, so now I get to have a guest. That's going to take a little bit of technical work to figure out because I haven't done it yet, but I'm really looking forward to my first guest, which is coming really soon. So stay tuned, be patient. But yeah, just reconnecting with everyone has been really nice. And I think starting this is going to just amplify that more. And it's going to reconnect with some people and also meet new people, which I'm looking forward to. Let's see. What else do we got? I'm going to take a sip of my strawberry matcha latte. My brother, Peter. What's up, Peter? He told me not to slurp. He said it hurts his ears. That was his own critique. I thought it'd be fun for ASMR, but not everyone's a fan. How do we like the stand, by the way? I get to use my hands. I feel like Will Ferrell in Talladega Nights, where I'm like, I don't know what to do with my arms or my hands. Is that the movie? And he keeps putting his hands up when he's doing the interview. What else happened? Okay, I'm gonna tell you this story. What happened recently, and then I'm gonna finish off with some recommendations on books that I've read or books that I like. So let's do it. Okay, so recently I went back to see Psychic Dee. If you are listening for the first time for whatever reason, I recently went to my first session to see a psychic about 2 months ago, and it just blew my mind. It blew my mind in the way that someone has that gift. I didn't realize how much like energy and resource it takes to channel and how she does it. So when I left after that first session, it gave me confidence, reassurance, and confirmation. Like those three things I left. I didn't think like, oh my God, like my future is going to be like this or, and she also didn't need to tell me how bad my life is. I already know. And, but it was interesting just to be a part of that experience. If you've never been a part of that experience before, I don't know how to accept it. I'm just listening to it and just being fascinated. So after 2 months of decoding some of the things that she told me and also kind of listening to what I needed to hear to get me on path and then to direct me what kind of path I will have really helped. That's what I was looking for. I was looking for guidance in a way where I've never experienced before, which was all about my mom and ancestors coming through, being channeled, and then giving me advice or telling me things that only my mom would know. And it's so funny because Dee, her name's Dee, she's incredible. And the way she's talking to me about this when she's channeling something or telling me a vision, I can see my mom. I can see the way her mannerisms is and the way she put her hands up or the expression or even just the way she says things it was so overwhelming. It really was. Like I remember leaving that first session and thinking like, wow, like my mom, like I really felt her, and Dee was like, your mom's always with you, which was really nice. So yeah, this second session, I went in with a little more, can you tell me how you're able to channel? How are you able to source this? And most of the time she says it's through someone who has crossed over because she's able to channel spirits, auras, energies, etc. And then she's also able to see visions and she's not quite sure. So it's funny because this second session when we met, she was telling me that your mom comes to visit me sometimes. And I'm like, "Oh." She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Your mom is very spiritual and she has that spiritual side where she's able to pass that along and you have that connection too." She says, "I don't know if you noticed, but you can tell when your mom is around you." And I'm like, Yeah, I absolutely can feel her. And I started talking to my mom a lot more after she passed. When I'm driving, when I'm walking, whenever, I just call to her and I'll start talking to her. Maybe a little weird, but it gives me comfort. It gives me peace, knowing that she can hear me when she's not playing bingo up in heaven. Uh, so she was telling me like your mom comes in and she wants you to know this, and then I was asking her, I was like, well, hold on, I was like, where are you like this information that you're giving me? Where are you channeling it from? Like, what's your source? She's like, mostly your mom. She's like, but I've been getting more spirits. Um, and so let me give you like a little what the visual paint you a picture. It's in a shed, but it's like the shed is very cozy. She has all these different like crystals, incense, pictures of angels, um, I don't know, like rosary beads and everything you can think of that's like spiritual, even like some kind of tools and medicine tools. I don't know. She has two birds that when you sit down, they're right next to you, they're covered. And then when she starts channeling these visions, or she starts to speak, the birds are going crazy. They go off the hook. And they're different types of chirping. They have different rhythms and sounds, and it's just very fascinating. So when I'm asking her, where are you channeling? She said mostly it's from ancestors that's passed away. So who came to the session? My mom, of course. She says she's always there with me. My Aunt Grace and Rose, which I will talk a little bit about. My cousin Chris, which was really nice and unexpected. My granddad, apparently, and then a few other ancestors that I wouldn't know, but they are generation of generations. And what's nice to know is that when people cross over, time doesn't exist, and the plane that we can't see, they still exist in this field, which is hard to imagine what that really means. And I can't, and I'm not a really educated person when it comes to that stuff, and I don't know how to accept it, but somehow I believe in it. There's more than what we can see, and I kind of feel it. There's something that I feel that I can't explain. So it's interesting to hear that, but also it's comforting knowing that my ancestors and my family and people who have passed and people I've known are constantly there. So let me give you an example. My cousin Chris was my best friend growing up. Him and I were two peas in a pod. We would get into trouble so much for just doing the most ridiculous things, as you would imagine, as kids. We were both misfits, both Scorpio boys. Loved to laugh, loved to prank each other or prank other people or make jokes. We would prank call people. We did really well with like improv. We would come up with like a scenario like you have to call this person, prank call them, pretend you're a salesman, and you can't use bad words, but you can use things like dingleberry and doofus, bozo, clown. That's just like things that you would insult someone, but like in a nice way. Um, I just had the most fun in life growing up with him, and he was absolutely my best friend. And he tragically passed away in a car accident. Now, doctor said that he had an aneurysm before the car accident because he crashed into a tree, and God rest his soul. Was the first time anyone has passed away tragic, and only tragically. It was like someone taking a part of me away. And I remember getting the news the day that he passed. I was at work. Really funny story, I guess. Not funny, but just interesting. I hated my job where I was at, unfortunately. And funny enough, my buddy Nick Nelson got me the job. I just hated who I worked for and what I was doing. It just didn't feel right. Kudos to him for getting me a job, and he was really pulling for me. But I really hated who I worked for. And the day that he passed, I just got some bad news from my mom. I can hear her sobbing on the phone. She's like, "You need to come home now, immediately." And I was like, trying to ask why. I'm like, "I'm at work. I can't." And she's like, "You need to come. Like, it's very important. It's a family emergency." So I told my boss. My boss was being a dick. I don't even remember his name, but he was being a dick. He's like, "Dude, you can't just leave like that." I was like, "Look, I'm leaving or I quit," you know? And he was shocked. I remember him face like, "What?" I go, "Dude, I don't know. Like, figure it out. It's a family emergency. I have to go." Drove home. And when I got there, my whole family was there. My Aunt Grace and Rose, my mom and dad, my siblings, and they were all just like, you can just see them, they've been bawling in tears. And I remember my mom was the one, or my Aunt Rose, I can't remember, maybe they were both sitting at the table and was like, your cousin Chris had a bad accident and he didn't make it. And I was like, what? When you've been told that in a moment like that, you don't know how to prepare. You don't even know how to accept it. You don't even know it's real. You just it doesn't compute. Not for me, anyways. Anyways, he he had an aneurysm, crashed into a tree, and he told me, and I was like, I was shattered. But the funny thing is, I didn't cry right away. It didn't hit me. I kind of felt like it was like I'm in disbelief, like denial. And for some reason, I think I had a phone back that he had on my phone, and I looked at his name, and he spells his name with a K, Chris, Kris. I I lost it. I've never cried so hard in my whole life, and have this heartbreak of losing someone. I mean that. Not a breakup. I've been broken up. I've been cheated on. I've had my fair share of heartbreaks, and nothing like that. Nothing compares to someone that's being taken away from your life forever at a young age and so fast and so sudden. I won't go into details about like seeing him at the hospital or anything, but um, God rest his soul, man. I think about this day and I miss him. I always wondered what he would be like. What would he do? And the funny thing is, he was one of the most funniest person in the world. Him and Nick Nelson. They would just have this gift, this energy, something about their wittiness, their cadence, the way they said things, and the way their mind works. It's just very gifted in that way. And he was my best friend. Anyways, he came through, and he says he's been listening to the podcast, and he wants me to know that he thinks I need to upgrade. And then I said, upgrade? I just started. And he's like, yeah, you keep holding the microphone and it keeps crackling. And I started busting up laughing because I'm like, I know, I can hear it. It sucks. It's like annoying probably when you listen to this. And I just laughed. And he's like, hey, he's also told me that like he loves what I'm doing. And I like to think that he would have been a podcaster or he would have been a comedian. He was really great. He had this presence about him that he was able to make anyone and everyone laugh at any time, which I loved. It was something I've adopted from him since the beginning, and I've kept with me. And when I'm doing things creatively, I do have him in spirit, which is very funny. So to hear him cross over and be in the session and tell me that I need to upgrade my mic to my microphone was the reason why I got a stand, as you can see. And it's really nice to know that he listens, and which made me really appreciate that not only the living, but also the rested is tuning in. So thank you, cousin Chris. Another two people that came into the session was my Aunt Grace and Aunt Rose. Now, if you don't know them, they are basically my grandparents. They basically raised me with my mom and dad. Um, they are the best human beings you could ever ask for. I owe them my life. And hearing them come through, I started to choke up. I mean, because I asked her, I was like, I'm curious, can you channel other people who, like during the middle, I remember, can you channel other people? Can you bring in? I was like, I'm looking to bring, she's like, do you know these two ladies? Right when I was about to like my Aunt Grace and Aunt Rose, she's like, does one look like this and one look like this? And then they're like this. And I'm like, exactly them. She's like, they're always with you. One's in the front and one's in the back. So if you were to fall, either way, anyway, they're there to help you and catch you. And even just saying that makes me like, oh my God, really? It kind of gives me like an emotion because I missed them dearly, you know? Around the same time, my Aunt Rose passed away, my Uncle Buddy passed away. And then shortly after, a year and a half later, my mom passed away. So three deaths in a span of like 2 years, or even less than that, was devastating to our family. And, it changes you. It changes you, especially for these people who are big influences in your life. And it was just nice to know that they came through. Now, my Aunt Grace, which I won't go into deep details, but um, after the session, I won't tell you more about, because some of the here's what I would recommend: go see someone, a medium, a psychic, do Reiki, do whatever, do something out of your norm, or do something that you wouldn't do. The reason why is because you might gain something, you might see something or feel something. It might change for you. It did for me, but I'm always in that world anyways. But if you haven't given a shot to try that, I would highly recommend it. I'm always highly recommending things, but I really would because I think it's like this profound moment that you're able to feel that you wouldn't feel if you didn't have someone channeling this. And yeah, I just feel like where was I going with this? I just feel like these experiences have brought up things that I've been holding on to that I haven't been able to heal from. And then I know because here's the thing, I don't know how to heal or I don't know how to grieve when someone passes away. I really don't. I didn't cry at my uncle's, my aunt's, or my mom's funeral. I didn't. I don't know why. I think, and it's. I was thinking about this actually. Let me allow me to say this. I think when my mom passed, it was sad. It wasn't tragic. It was sad, but we celebrated. We were able to celebrate her life because we knew that she was sick. She had dementia, and that her time was going to come. You know, she lived a full life, and we were able to celebrate that. When my cousin Chris passed away, it was tragic, and we were devastated. Even though we were able to celebrate his life, it felt like you couldn't. You didn't want to accept that was the result. And I never knew how to deal with that. I don't know if anyone actually does, but having him and my aunts come through allowed me to bring it to surface where I was able to like let's think about this. So here's what happened. Oh, I knew what I was saying. Let me finish this. Gosh, I go so fast sometimes. I'm so sorry if I'm all over the place. When I got into the car after the session, I called for my Aunt Grace, and the reason why I called for her is because the last few years of her life, I wasn't able to see her, and I actually didn't even know she passed away until a couple years ago, and I just recently found this out, maybe, gosh, a couple months ago. And when I found out, I was really upset. If I'm being honest, I was really upset that no one told me, because she's someone who's like, I mean, she was one of my heroes. My Aunt Grace, my Aunt Rose, my parents are all heroes. And so not to be given that news was devastating. I'm not going to lie to you. It hurt. Um, but also, I'm glad she's at peace. And that's what I wanted to know through the session. I was like, are they at a good place? And what's nice to know is that when people cross over, they're able to tell you. All of my relatives, my mom, my family, everyone is in a good place. They're healthy, they're happy, and they kind of give you clues to like what happened and why it happened. But let me go back to the story real quick. So I got into my car, I called for my Aunt Grace, and I said, Aunt Grace, I'm so sorry I didn't and I didn't even couldn't finish a sentence. You guys, I cried. I cried like I cried the day that my cousin passed away. It was this, I didn't even know I had it in me. I sobbed for 20 minutes. I pulled off the road and I was just crying, hands over my eyes. And it was funny because I could feel myself trying to stop, like trying to prevent it from happening. But I know if I do that, then I'm not fully embracing what happened. And I apologized to her that I couldn't see her. And then I felt bad, because I wanted to honor her, to honor her the way that I would honor all my family. But I thanked her for everything she's done. And I wanted to let her know that she's always with me and everything she's ever done for me or given me advice or always supported me in the ways. I had to breathe and I had to burp. um, was really nice to g- let her know that, and it opened something up in me. It opened up something up in me that I was able to write down immediately after when I got home. I started writing about what it felt like and what she did for me. And guys, it was just like this. I felt peace. I felt I finally got this clarity of I feel better. I feel at peace. And knowing that they're in a better place and knowing that she's with me is just it's really nice. It's really nice. I wanted to go back and say something. Oh yeah. If you go see a psychic, Reiki, medium, don't go and tell everyone everything. It's not meant for them. And I'm not saying that because that's what I did. I told a few family members and friends some information that I haven't shared here because it's very personal. And I feel like it's not meant for anyone else. No one's going to understand. And that's why I encourage you to go because I'm curious if you feel the same way, or there is something that you didn't know that you learned and it's meant for you. Also, just because someone tells you something that's going to happen, or you might not know what it is and you feel like, well, what does that mean? It doesn't mean it's like concrete. It's not Bible. It's not written for you. It's just one of the ways or one of the paths that you could find. You know, there's different versions of yourself, and it's up to you how you want your story to be written. So don't tell everyone about your experiences. Save a little bit for yourself is what I'm trying to say. And that's what I have done. And this time around, I was able to um, gain more clarity. And if I'm going to keep doing this, I'm going this route, I need to be all in. And I know I said it in the beginning, but I need to own it. And this is what it needs to be, because this was gives me the most joy. And that's what the session has done for me. And just having someone in that world tell me what I already know, what I already need to do, and then if I actually own it and be all in, something will happen. That's what she told me. She said, "You were meant to do this, but this won't be the only thing that you do in your career. You will also find other outlets that were meant for you, because that part of you hasn't been seen yet and you haven't released it to the world. And it's because you haven't owned it. But if you keep going on this journey and stay on this path, more and more will come out, but you need to just own it and know it's for you and not for anyone else." And I really love that. I really love that she gave me that words of wisdom. She also told me not to forget her when I'm rich and famous. So I will not forget you, Dee. Thank you so much for taking time to share that with me. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. I'm not even sure where we're at on time. Hopefully it's still recording. Oh my God, that would be the worst thing. I would have to do it all over again. The reason why I wanted to give you guys some of my favorite books is because people have been asking me what I've read before, what am I reading now. So I'm just going to go quickly through some books that I've read, and then I'll tell you what I'm reading next. Okay? Let's do a little book talk or booktube, plugging in SEO. Okay, so the first type of books I read were autobiographies, and the first one was Steve Jobs. I read that book while I was working at Facebook about 11, 12 years ago. 11. And that book just changed my life. The reason why I really enjoyed his book is because I was learning meditation for the first time. And it was the first time I read a book where I didn't have to reread it. I was like flying through the book. I was flying through the pages. And he's just incredible. He actually inspired me in a lot of ways to do something out of my wheelhouse, like something I wouldn't really do, and just risk. Like take risks more and then own it, which is really great. Unfortunately, I won't experiment with I don't know why I'm doing this. My mom does this, by the way. My friend Michael always makes fun of me for doing this. I don't know if you even could see it. I won't experiment with drugs because I'm very sensitive. We talked about that. But I'm always curious about that. If I took shrooms or LSD or ayahuasca, would it benefit me? I'm too scared. I don't think I'll come back the same. I don't really need it. I'm just really curious. But the fact that he did it and did all these things, there's no reason. There's no one. It's no one. What are you trying to say? No wonder Steve Jobs became Steve Jobs is basically what I'm trying to say. Anyways, moving on. I read the book Shook One by Charlemagne the God. Really great. I love that book. I'm not a big Charlemagne the God person where I think he was on The Breakfast Club, huge radio host. But I was recommended the book back in 2017-18, and I was pleasantly surprised. He was able to talk about some experiences that coincidentally I was in with friends. He talks about getting pulled over by the police, and I was pulled over by the police with some friends. Anyways, I won't go into details. But it hit me in a way where I was like, oh my God, this is one of my favorite books. And he does a great job. So if you're looking for some good autobiographies, check out those two. Okay, most of the books that I read come from the self-help genre. The first one is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. Am I saying that right? The Alchemist, great book. Oh my God, talk about the hero's journey type of book. This one's one of the best. If you're looking for a good hero's journey, and looking for like a really good heroic story, check out The Alchemist. Really good book. The next one is Atomic Habits by James Clear. I love James Clear. I read the book and I did the audiobook. Both are incredible. If you're looking to get better at your routine or develop better habits, he crushes it. I also recommend subscribing to his Thursday email blast because he puts out these great quotes or ideas and questions. He does a 3-2-1. I think it's 3 quotes, 2 ideas. No, 3 ideas, 2 quotes, and 1. I should know this. And then 1 question. Anyways, he is a brilliant dude. Please just listen to it. It's amazing. It's only like 5 or 6 hours. You can get through it in a couple days, and it'll change your life. That's a book that will change your life. Atomic Habits by James Clear. The 4 Agreements, The Agreements of Love, and then The Fifth Agreement by Don Miguel Ruiz was one of the books that I was like blown away by, and I was also able to read it very quickly. All 3 books gives you perspective, gives you a deeper dive on how to be the best version of yourself, the way you talk, the way you think, what you put out into the world, your energy. Absolutely great book. Definitely will change your life as well. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. I don't know if it's Eckhart Tolle or Tolle. He is fascinating, and I would recommend looking him up on YouTube or something and researching him more. His comprehension in the spiritual world or how this all works is he's an expert. He's absolutely fascinating. Really good read. Didn't resonate with me because I think some of it is over my head a little bit, if I'm being honest, just because I'm like, how do I explain that to me again? But it changed me because part of his books opened up to me to new doors for other books, which was really great. 10% Happier by Dan Harris. Dan Harris was a correspondent on CNN, I believe, a reporter. Talks about how he discovered meditation and how it gives you 10% more happiness. Pretty simple, pretty easy, but I love the story. And someone who's not good at meditation and really has to try at it, because you may not be good at it. And by all means, I'm not great at it. It's just something I'm able to do, but I do it pretty good. I would say that meditation comes pretty easy for me. I know some people struggle with it because it doesn't come so easy. Everyone's mind is different. So Dan Harris is one of those people who found it to be a little challenging, but great book, 10% Happier. Own the Day, Own Your Life by Aubrey Marcus. Aubrey Marcus is in the fitness world, spiritual world as well. And he also just created On, which is like a fitness program, fitness or health and wellness company. And he is a big podcaster. Big fan of his, actually. I really like the way he lives his life and his perspectives on things. It's called Own the Day, Own Your Life, and basically he breaks down an hour of each day how he makes the most of his day, which I really love because it also goes in with the habits and compounds of building better habits and how to set you up for success. Like, here's an easy one. If you love going to the gym, but you find it hard to be motivating and like sometimes you're not in the mood, put your clothes out or dress in your clothes before what am I trying to say? Just have your clothes out, and then also you could sleep in your clothes, like your gym clothes, and you're just easy to go. You're ready to go. If you dress for success, you'll be successful, is the point. Okay, another book that's not in the self-help category, it's in nonfiction, is When It Was All Said by Anne Griffin. She's an Irish author. I actually got to meet her. She's fabulous. She's so awesome. It was a great book. And the reason why I'm telling you about it is because it's about this man in Ireland who's kind of old, and he's looking to sell. I actually forgot the story. He's looking to sell off his farm or the house. But also why I liked it so much because the story reminded me a lot like my mom, and then the family members around it who's also going through this process. But it was a really great book. And I actually should reread that. It's been a couple years. But I remember it being one of my favorites. So When It Was All Said by Anne Griffin. The Five People You Meet in Heaven, Tuesdays with Maury, and The Next Person You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. Amazing books. Okay, great story. Holy shit. The Five People You Meet in Heaven is basically the story about an accident happening, and then you go to heaven and you meet these five people, and through that journey, it gives you meaning, and you look back in your life and you understand why it all happened. It's incredible. I love things like that. I love the afterlife thoughts and what happens next, and how that plays into a part of our lives, because it gives it meaning. So check out those two. And for fun, if you're looking for a cool kids book for the kiddos, Earl's Too Cool for Me by Leah Kamaiko. I got to meet Leah Kamaiko back when I was in 4th or 5th grade in Miss Nelson's class. It's one of the coolest books because when she read it to us, she had this rhythm. It's a rhyme book, first of all, and Earl is hella cool. And she did this. You know what's cool is that when teachers or people read and they turn the page, there's no pause in between and the transition. She was able to do this I'll tell you the first line. Earl's got a bicycle made of hay. He takes a ride on the Milky Way. Earl's too cool for me. And as she's turning the page, she'll go, ch 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 ch. Earl's gonna do. And it was just like, oh my God, I love this. This is the way the books should be read every time. There should be a transition, like a little fun little, little tune in between. I think that would be, can we do that somehow? Can we I mean, I do it often for myself, I'll do dim 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 or make my own little tune, but it was one of those memories that I cannot ever get rid of. And it's a book that I always love going back to read. So if you're looking one for the kiddos, check out Earl's Too Cool for Me by Leah Kamaiko. You guys, I think that's all I've got. I can't believe we made it to 10. I think that's what I'm going to call it. We made it to 10. It's been a pleasure. I literally can't thank you enough for allowing me to do this. And if you're tuning in still, episode 10, thank you so much. We're getting really close to getting people on here. And I look forward to that soon. Also, if you have any questions, please let me know what those are. If you have any advice or seeking advice or books, Reiki, psychic, relationships, I wouldn't ask, but I'll do my best. Whatever it is, if you have a question for me, please let me know. There is a page called speakpipe.com/Born Reddy podcast where you can ask me a question, or if you just want to DM me, send me a text, email, whatever, please do so. I want to hear from you. Or just feedback. Give me some feedback, dude. Constructive feedback or just nice feedback. I take compliments. I do it all. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Happy October. Ready or not. See you soon. Thanks, everyone.